Can you hear me?
No.
Okay, good.
Now we're done talking about you, now we're unmuting you.
Oh, good. I hope you had only nice things to say.
Yes, right, correct.
All right, we good?
Yeah.
All right, we'll call the meeting of the Castine Selectboard to order at 4:04 p.m. And we do have enough of us, so we'll enough of us. I'm gonna move to that. I have no words. Sorry.
It's Monday.
I have no words. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
I need an executive session for personnel.
Thank you.
4056.
A.
A,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
anything else? Okay,
nope.
all right, now to sign warrants. So we have warrants. We have the general fund warrant in the amount of $92,897.46. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Thank you. And is there any discussion? I have none. So, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. And we have a water department warrant of $15,102.10, and I will move that amount.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right. We also have an abatement in the amount of $287.28. Karen, do you mind explaining that? for us?
Yes, when each year, building permits, when those are issued, our assessors go around and they look at the properties. When they went around this year, there was one home that they went and looked at, nobody was home, they assumed that it was finished. It was not, so the owner came in and talked with Rob and the adjustment was made, they'll go back next year, look at it, and if it's finished, then they'll ups up the value of it.
Okay, fantastic. All right, do I have a motion to abate the $287.28?
So moved.
second,
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. All right. And we have approved minutes of previous meetings. We have minutes from Monday the 15th and Tuesday the 23rd that we were all three at. So I will make a motion. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Monday, just Monday the 15th. We were all three present and present. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from Monday, September 15th. Second. And Dan, you're gonna recuse yourself, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you can vote on this one, sorry.
I can vote on this one, right?
All in favor?
Yeah.
All right, now, Amy and I, guys, I'm really messed today. Amy and I. I will make a motion that we accept the minutes from Tuesday the 23rd and Tuesday the 30th. So, second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Let's see if there's an S organized. All right, we have no old business, and under new business, we have a reappointment to the Board of Appeals. And we are considering the following reappointment: Patricia Bixel as an alternate member to the Board of Appeals, and her term would expire in June of 2026. Yeah, do I have a motion? So moved. I'll second, okay.
Yep.
Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your service to the town. All right. Next is solar updates. Garrett.
Yeah, it won't take up a lot of time. I just handed out to you because I just got it. And so I figure I'll give you time to review the proposal. I have some questions on the cash flow statement on the bottom of it. It seems to be running a deficit. And I believe that's due to the interest up in the income statement. If you look on the bigger one, well, I guess they're both big because I had an issue. I wanted this one to be big. I didn't want any of the other ones to be big. But they decided to be. So I think that's an interest in there is added in. That seems to be the deficit. So we need to look at that. I have a question on the down payment amount also. So I think you're talking about having a workshop and maybe we want to invite Mr. Howe to that meeting to discuss it. That is out for 20 years. Of course, the cash flow negativity is only to year 10. So need to figure that one out and also ask some questions about like financing and approval if we decide to do that. But it doesn't look like it's feasible based on this, but I want to take a little more time to look at it and have you look at it also, come up with questions on for them on what the payback period looks like. I also have a couple questions based on my discussion with him from Mr. Howe from Select about like how a down payment would even work. Need to talk to Karen about that because the sewer department doesn't really have money for a down payment, and this would be a sewer rate type of savings, and that's the goal on that one. So
Because,
we got more to think about on
because this project would be for this
it.
sewer.
Right, which would offset, it would all affect that budget, not the regular budget. So I don't know if that's an internal type of loan thing until like we get to when that the sewer project debt service is retired coming up for the next year or two. And all kinds of little things like that that could affect it.
All right,
Of course, the reason we're discussing this now is we're trying to beat this December 31st. When some of the federal tax credits go away, so that will add complication to the even more, so. Just need to have a bunch more answers for that.
we'll get you our questions.
Yeah, and have them prepared for like when we do a work session, all
Okay.
right? Cause it's the end of the year is marching towards us, so we gotta figure out something. Yep.
Next is discussions regarding American flags on street poles.
Well, in my manager's report, I allude to the fact I had a complaint about them, but also as things often happen in a timely manner. We also got a letter from the Coal Land Transportation Museum about participating in their flag program, and I thought that was interesting. Cause just about every town I've been in, we've had flags on the poles, but it seems like in Castine, this has become a real issue. So I did have the guys take down flags that were either tethered or stuck to the poles. And so I just want to have a discussion if we should continue this, because I think it's the complaints, I would say, are annoying at this point. I believe the rec committee is trying to do something patriotic for the community. It isn't to try to make people feel bad in any way, but you know, I've had various comments from people that don't like it, some because nobody's going around to maintain it all the time, and that's just something that tends to happen from time to time. A lot of my towns have had volunteers like the American Legion or other groups that constantly watch those flags, and I worry about manpower to satisfy everything, but there are other people that don't believe they should be up from year round. And actually in all these flags you see, like if you drive down Route 15, you're gonna see flags all through the Center Drive area of Orrington, for instance, right? The reason is because the Coal Museum created this, I would say 30 years ago, or somewhere around that, 25 years ago, and from time to time have funded it. And of course, in their whole solicitation, they talk about, you know, having the flags up from Memorial Day through Labor Day. So that is where the idea came from. And I would dare say that Coal Land Transportation is probably one of the most patriotic supporters of veterans and soldiers probably in the area when it comes to like what they do for veterans over there at the museum, including all their old military collections that they have of different artifacts and stuff from all the various wars. So I just want to have a discussion one way or the other, if this is something we're gonna continue on in the future, or we say no and we decide to celebrate these holidays in a different way, like maybe smaller flags around the monument out front during the holidays, or you could really get creative with, I know in one community, Allenstown, for instance, we put out, I forget what the number is, but it was a number of suicides that happen every month by our soldiers, so we put flags out, lit them in a little field area near the police station for like 2 or 3 weeks. So we could easily do something like that, or maybe we find out how many of our veterans from Castine there have been that have died, or even, well, that's probably the easier figure because having numbers of who served may be a little more difficult. There's something like that to honor our veterans and show our patriotism. I don't know. I'm just asking you guys.
Derek, can I ask a question? Are
Yeah.
are the complaints that the flags are getting are tethered and used, or are the complaints that the flag shouldn't be up? I just want to be clear about the complaints.
I've had them both ways. Some people think they should go up only for like the 4th of July and come back down. The one thing with the Coal Museum program, for instance, is that they continue up from Memorial Day through Labor Day. So that could be an issue, to say the least.
Okay. Well, I think we should table this to a work session.
I would agree. That's what I was going to say. I think we should table it to work session, invite the rec committee.
Yeah.
I'd like to have- And have a conversation with them about that.
Right.
I'd like to have their comments and contribution.
Yeah, and I did send them a note that we are gonna be discussing this tonight too.
Do we have any?
Yeah, she answered it, so yeah, I was gonna say,
What, do you have any input?
and Terry's here too, and I'm sorry, Terry, I didn't have your email.
Can I read a statement that
Sure.
the rec committee
Please.
drafted for?
Please.
I'm Dan Gardner, part of the rec committee. So, as a committee, we would like to provide some context and clarification regarding the intent and process behind the rec committee putting up of the American flags along Court Street at Ave. First and foremost, there was and is no political stance or statement behind the flags. The rec committee's attention last year, when we first put them up along Court Street, and again this year when we added them to Battle Ave, was simply to show some hometown patriotism and celebration for the 4th of July, Veterans Day events, and to add to Castine's small town charm, much as countless other towns do across our state and across the country. So to be clear, when we say patriotism, we mean pride and respect for the United States of America, which is entirely different from allegiance to any political party or political leader. In today's world, political polarization can sometimes blur the lines between patriotism and nationalism. And I work as volunteers on the rec committee. We maintain complete nonpartisan and political neutrality in everything we do. Because putting up the flags, taking them down is time consuming, resources are limited, we decided to leave them up through the summer months rather than removing them after each holiday, to then have to put them up for the next holiday and then remove them once again. This decision was based purely on logistics, not symbolism or politics. We first heard concerns raised about the flags being on the poles at the end of July in an email from the select board. At that time, we had shared the rationale for the flags and the reasoning behind the plan for their continued presence through Veterans Day. It was not until this past Friday that we heard from the town manager that the flags on the poles were still causing complaints from Castine. And then the select board would be discussing the flags on poles here today. So given that the flags on the poles have become a bit of a sensitive topic in town, we as a committee wish there had been an opportunity for open discussion and collaboration earlier on. We believe issues like this are best addressed through timely, constructive conversations rather than allowing frustrations to sit back. While not all residents agree on the flags being up on the poles or the message or messages they portray to those passing by, we hope we can all agree that we love this town and this is a good place to start having a conversation. So if the select board ultimately decides to sunset the flags on the poles, the rec committee hopes that they would consider allowing the flags to remain up through Veterans Day as a way to honor those who have served and are continuing to serve in their uniformed services. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we can still discuss it at a work session, and thank you, Dan. And, if some members of the RAC committee could come to the work session and we could discuss it, and we can make it open to anybody who wants to come and discuss the flag issue. And maybe perhaps if you guys agree, we can have a public engagement regarding it. But let's do that, and so we'll table it until work session. Thank you so much. Hey, a request from Art Under the Elms, Pat Bishop.
I was here 2 weeks ago and did not get, it was not approved, so I'm back.
Okay. So the Trinitarian Congregational Parish of Castine would like approval for Art Under the Elms to be held on Saturday, July 25th, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the Castine Common. And we didn't vote on it the last time because I need to recuse myself and we didn't have a quorum for it. So, is there a motion? So moved. Is there-
Second.
Okay. Is there discussion?
So do we have any other conflicts or requests?
Not on that day.
On that day?
Not on that day. Do you want me to read the rest of the details? Are you good?
I'm okay with it, yeah.
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna recuse myself, but all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. And next is a request from the Castine Historical Society. Take it again. Hello, hi everyone, I'm the the Historical Society, and you take it, man. As many of you know, on July 24th, we will be having the annual housing garden or semi-annual housing garden tour. We would like to request that parking be limited on the town common so that we can bring food trucks to the town common to address the needs of our 1,000 or so visitors to Castine today. In looking at the mobile vending ordinance, it looks like if we approve your special event, then we can approve parking in Village 1 and, or mobile vending units in Village 1 and Village 2. And that would be on the common. As long as Adams School is not in session, so I think we're good. Unless we get snowpocalypse. That happens.
What's the date again?
July 24th. All right. Well, I will make a motion that we allow the Castine Historical Society to put food trucks. Do we know how many you're thinking? I was thinking 4 or 5. So around the town common. Yeah. And you will speak to the neighbors around.
Yes, we will talk to the neighbors to ensure that,
Okay.
you know, they still have access to their driveways and things like that.
Okay, thank you. That we allow them to put food trucks on the common for the day of the 24th during the house and garden show. Correct? Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion or questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, and Kate, you do know that they will each have to pay a fee
Yes.
to the town.
I will let them know when I return.
Thank you, yes.
Roberta, quick question, will those food trucks be removed the day of their event so that it doesn't interfere with?
Yeah, the food trucks can only be there at the very most until 9 p.m. But I think they'll be leaving sooner than that. Based on an earlier conversation, but.
Yeah, we'll plan to have them removed by 4 p.m. and we certainly will ensure that, you know, on the common itself,
Right.
we won't interfere with your planning. I know you have a lot of tent and things to do, so. We will make sure, what the plan is to put or at least my plan right now is to put the tables and other things on the CHS property. So that hopefully we won't even be an issue for you.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the town manager's report.
Yes, it's been a busy last few weeks. First of all, we're happy to say Natalie's back. And she was missed by all of us. Very happy to have her back. And I'm sure the community will enjoy seeing her smiling face. Not that they don't enjoy seeing Sue's smiling face also when they come into the office, but Natalie will be there also from time to time to greet everybody and help them do their business. A couple things. Got a complaint about our town report, just so you know. We had some pictures of food trucks. This is only one complaint that we had, but the purpose of putting the food trucks around there was celebrating the fact that we had this food option down on the town dock that the taxpayers had approved, and just putting that on there. There's asked for looking at a legal investigation and a bunch of other stuff, and equal time to all the other businesses in town. That was not the intent. It was an innocent thing that was done. And just as a side note, that advertisement was so good, only one of the 5 or 6 that were on there came back for year 2. So if it was an advertisement, it didn't work well for those food trucks. Let's see, had another FOIA request related to that also that we've been busy working on, as well as the select board. Also this week, or a couple weeks ago, I think it was, now we had a complaint about desecrating burial grounds in a cemetery in town. So I'd just like to read we spent a lot of time before the project investigating this particular site where the story walk was, but we also were careful during the project to actually make sure, should anything be found, whether it was artifacts or bones or anything else, that it would be properly and with respect be addressed. So that had a couple different complaints. Believe other groups in town were also complained about this, including the sheriff's department that called me, seeing if they needed to launch an investigation. So I explained to them that a couple of phone calls could have been made and we could have clarified this rather than making a big deal out of it. So basically, of course, the lot we're talking about is the lot on the corner of Court and Spring Street where the story walk is going in. This is not a cemetery, and care was taken while building the trails should any graves be found. Much careful research went into this property before disturbing the soils down there, including consultation with our own local historical society and the Maine Historic Preservation Commission. We also stopped all work when deer bones were found to investigate those, making sure they weren't human. And we only dug down less than a foot deep in this whole area. This site has been excavated before as water lines run through it to the pump station lying on the land below it, below where the park is, as well as a lot of material has been spread over this property from other construction projects, such as Main Street was one. I believe maybe the golf course perhaps dumped some materials on there at one time. The historic sign at this location will no longer be at that location since it belongs over on Dice Head. Furthermore, Sheriff's Department was called in this matter with accusations that a crime had taken place. A simple call could have been made to Town Hall asking a few questions on what research has been done about this site, what precautions are being taken. Whole complaint reminds me there very well could be unmarked burial grounds all over the town of Castine from 1779, and care should be taken when anyone is doing work on their own property. Final note on this matter from me. There's a Fort George report that discusses the fort and how trails should be made throughout Witherly Woods commemorating the events from 1779. And along these trails, there should be storyboards put up denoting the historic events that took place, not unlike the ones we see around town. Some are correct, some are not correct. And as well as the new displays that are found along the trails at the story walk. Their Shirley graves that are marked through Castine, lost due to time, and from what I've read about both American and British casualties during 1779, thus all due honor and respect should be given, whether British or military, soldier or civilian, should any be found in town when doing work on your property. So that's just my official statement on this whole thing. Created a lot of drama. And, that was the one thing that we did not want to happen when we're digging there. So, let's see, beyond that, we'll get to more cheerful things now that I've covered the complaints for the last week or two. Well, I'm sure there were other complaints, but those were the ones that we spent significant time on. Let's see, wildfire submittals will be done here in the next couple of weeks, so the board will be getting those from the fire station from the cost of that. Sand shed work, the sand will be going back into those in the next week or two. I just talked to Greg about that. He gave me the lowest quote. Continue to collect some speed data. I sent a little bit of data for you guys to look at just so you can see the format from last week. I am looking for where that should go next, and also getting ready to do that parking sign order, if you will, but they left off one of the pages, so I'm waiting to find out what that is and then fine tune that. And making sure we have the budget to buy the quantity of signs that we have or to reduce them to the most important areas. Let's see, Ina in here tonight. Oh, yeah, good. I'll let her do a story walk update. Let's see, transfer station discussion with the municipal waste hub will be on November 17th. Historic light pole outlets, I did a list of where those should be, where the outlet should be placed on those poles, and also sent them some photos just marked up to show them where they should be. Wherever there's enough room, like a grass esplanade, we'll have them on the backside, but wherever there's a sidewalk, they'll be on the front of them, so parallel with the road. Let's see, PFAS study, the well was retested, and that has gone off to the state for results. I'm also going to be providing them with a list of people that so far have been turned into me that may have knowledge of what went on that site historically, or maybe they won't. But if you have some people in mind that should be contacted, please let me know so I can get them onto the list for interview. Let's see, senior tax relief program, we've discussed that a couple of times. I did get information from the town of Cumberland on how they run theirs. I think that should be a workshop item that we have, and also invite our assessor in, since he would have to deal with paperwork involved in that, as well as Karen and Sue, so they can discuss how that program would work should the taxpayers approve that and you ultimately approve it to send it to them. Personnel policy, I will be sending you a draft copy of new personnel policy to look at, still needs some work, and that's because of details that really you need to consider whether we include those or we make some changes. Just so you know, that policy, Sue actually worked on this draft with me, and I think Karen, you also did. It was a while ago and we were working on it now. And we sent that off to legal a while back. I've been just hanging on to it, finding the right time to pull it out to get these things, to get it updated. But this thing's been worked on for like 20 years or different drafts. So you'll see that it looks very much different than the one from the 90s. I think it was when it was originally done. Let's see. MBRC grant for Perkins Street sewer and storm drainage. Ina's been hammering around along on writing that to get it in by this Friday. Seems to be coming together, although I will say it's been a difficult one to write and meet the objectives that the state is looking for. But I think she's getting the craftsmanship done to get that in. It's been frustrated, so give her a pat on the back next time you talk to her, because she deserves it, because I know she's been really struggling with a couple of their requirements and how this project fits into that. FEMA work, just so you know, over the last couple of weeks, we've got 2 different checks in for $509,000. Give or take a few hundred on top of that. I've been reconciling or starting to reconcile that, and I still have to upload some of the paperwork, but that is for all of the projects except for the Fort Madison and the Water Street engineering project, as well as part of the town dock that deals with the gazebo that we'll be building over the winter time. Related to that, I have started working, if you will, on these RFPs to customize them and crafting the language for how we're going to address the road shoulders, because ideally this grant doesn't deal with the road shoulders, it deals with the erosion down below, but I've figured out a way to craft that they address both. And hope to get that done once the knotweed is out of the way. And now that we have hired a couple MMA students to fill our 20-hour part-time position, that will give us a little more manpower to help knock down some of that knotweed. You may have seen them working with Joe and Corey over the last couple of weeks. It seems to be working out really well. Let's see, lighthouse lease. I don't know why I don't have it, but that's ready for you guys to come in and sign that at your leisure. Did I give that back to you?
Right here.
Oh, there it is. Okay, good. Thanks. I was gonna say I had it and then I said, take that so they can come in and sign it. Great. Let's see. State Street, no, catch basin, pavement marking. I told Joe to add that to the list to start marking off some of those additional spaces with the parking limits on them so people know. Let's see, part of the sidewalk maintenance, of course, that we budgeted for was a shed. We've looked at many sheds over the last month or so and come up with a 12 by 20 that will be going to the Historic Preservation Commission, even though it is out back. You can kind of see it from the street. But of course, we'll be able to use this during the spring and summertime to store some tools and maybe a push mower or whatever else is needed too. We looked at several of different sheds, and the lowest one that we have is $7,988.70, which includes a 5% discount, the ramp to get into it, and also a gravel pad that it will be placed on. That will be from Hillview Mini Barns. You see them all over the place. We also priced them out from Winterport Sheds, and let me see, what else was the other one here? Let's see, we had another one that was 8,309, and then the other place was over by the mall, which was like 1,000, 2,000 more than this one. So we got a really good deal on this shed. It's got a couple windows and like barn style doors, and also a gable vent on it, so it will breathe, so it won't just sit there kind of rot like sometimes they do when they don't have that. So I will need. Oh, and the shed itself is 6,884, but the gravel pad will be that extra amount for that. So the total 79,8870. When you get to that wildfire protection grant, this is going in earnest. I believe eventually you're going to have a little presentation here at Town Hall for that. For this side of the peninsula, I did attend one in Brooksville either last week or the week before. And they probably had about 25 people there, and they asked really great questions. I do know there's another contractor in town that reached out too, because one of the things we're finding out are driveways of private roads. There's a 15-15 rule that's 15 feet wide and 15 feet tall is what you need to get like a fire truck down your road. So that when people start talking about that, there's a contractor in town buying a machine right now that actually easily does that for people. Not gonna mention who it is. He just happened to call me and said, hey, do you need anything done with this? And I said, no, but you may be busy once we get the wildfire project done. Let's see, talked about solar update. Owner's Project Manager, RFP, my committee of, what is it, six? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Have interviewed OPMs, we have one more tomorrow, and then we'll bring back a proposal to the board for consideration for hiring a firm. I have reached out to our attorneys about the contract form for that also, which I'm waiting for. Waterfront dock study, Ina joined us, took some notes. I haven't had a chance to get back into those notes, but I highlighted some of the changes we're looking at. Those are the changes that basically were done at this last meeting. To make it easier to read on sea level predictions and what actual average high tide look like, as well as a short-term and long-term depiction of what improvements could be made. So you got that, let's see, the know before, I've been sending out these little tests here for fishing. I'm sure it's driving these guys nuts, because it drives me nuts, I get them too. And but I found out the state's actually gonna send out those too, so they have something, which is good, because I've been saying, geez, this whole program has been a lot of work to figure out how to use it. And it sure would be good if they just had one person that could do it for all the little small towns, because I don't know how some of the small towns would even deal with it. It's pretty complex sometimes. I wouldn't say complex, really hard, just time consuming to do all the little things they want you to do. But I think we've only had one person click on one of the fishing attempts, and I know why that one was, because it was one that looked pretty real. Let's see, what else do I have on this? I'll let Ina talk about Project Canopy if she wants. Housing Opportunity Grant, which is the Blue Hill Peninsula Grant, is moving right along, and the RFP for consultant services is out in the public now, so there's that. Rental ordinance is still at the attorneys, and let's see, compost bin grant, we have not heard back from yet. Wilson Museum Building was entered on the National Register of Historic Places on September 18th, 2025. I believe if we request a certificate, that they will send us one of those that they can probably display at the Wilson Museum. And I don't know if they'll give us an extra, we could easily put it up here. Also this week on Wednesday and Thursday is the MMA convention, so town offices will be closed. And that is all I have. Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I will make a motion, or would you like to make a motion? No. All right, I will make a motion that we approve $7,980.70, which includes the shed and the gravel pad for the shed purchase of the 12x20 shed in the back for the sidewalk machine. Contingent on approval by the Historic Preservation Commission. Yep. Is there a second? Second.
Okay.
Is there any more discussions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Derek. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit out of order, but I never replied. On making waves Castine, we would like to use the common on October 18th. For our rally. I didn't stay above the statue. Because it's within 45 days of the election and we can't be within 250 feet of it.
Okay. So, October 18th. What time, Brooke?
1 up.
Until about. Yeah. Do I have a motion? So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Thank you.
Sure.
Do we not, just check so we don't have a conflict with that, anyone else using the color or anything going on? We're good?
We'll chat. Okay.
Contingent.
Okay, we have, was not on there, but we have a report from the Historic Preservation Commission, Jeff Stallman.
Thank you.
Would like to give a brief update on what you guys have been doing.
Sure, I'll make it very brief, as we have not had any applications since the last time I gave a report to the town until I received a application from the town for the aforementioned shed. So we're gonna meet next Tuesday to discuss that and other matters that have been ongoing, but not too much in the meeting.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for staying for the whole meeting.
Looking forward to seeing you next week.
Update from Matt Powell about the Merchants Association.
I gave a printed report for all of you guys, just so you guys. Not a ton of new stuff to report. Of course, we haven't met since pre-season. We're gonna have our next meeting in a week. But just so that everybody knows, right now we're at 38 members for 2025. Strong membership for us. Very strong participation from everybody right now, which is great. Visitor center this year for the season is at 4,062, which represents a 13% increase. Sherry was feeling that this year. She said that she really felt like there was a lot of activity down there. That is a lot higher growth year over year than in years past. Usually it's about 8%. So that's great. Castine merch was really hot this year. She had a 40% increase in sales, which is amazing, and that's thanks in part to the MMA partnership that we did. So we were carrying MMA merch down there. And then also because of the new pop-ups that we were doing with Jordan Richards, having some visiting artisans down there on certain weekends. So that was great. You can see the current officers there. We are going to be going for re-election this coming Monday. So we'll see if we get re-elected for the coming year. And Light Up Castine efforts are underway. We've kicked off with emails, but I think that we just have to go back to an old-fashioned phone tree to actually get people to donate, because that's just how Castine is. But also we'll be bringing back the Dinner of Five Flags, which we did 2 years ago. And we are looking into a potential potluck fundraiser with Castine Market. So that should be another fun opportunity to have some community interaction in the winter. We also increased our dues this year to help cover increasing costs. Social presence is super strong. Usually we start to see a waning of social interaction at this time of the year, but we're still at a rapid pace of 26% reach. And 40% of the accounts that we hit on social media right now are non-followers, which is really great. It means we're getting new eyes on our town. One of our big projects for the winter will be investigating more digital opportunities for marketing. We've been really entrenched in print in the past, but it's time to kind of get the town out there more on the digital sphere. You can see the channels that we're currently in right now. We will be adding in Portland Magazine next year to that list there. And then just recapping some successes. We're very much looking forward to season 3 of mobile vending. That was a great addition to the waterfront. I should have listed also, but we were thrilled to see the Castine Film Festival, our Under the Elms, were so successful that those did in fact bring boosts of foot traffic and sales to our merchants on those dates that they were active. And we're really looking forward to the Home and Garden Show next year, because that's also a big banging day for us. And again, we're super thrilled to see our new merchant Castine Market doing well and thriving and changing things up down there. We're excited to see how they participate in the town in the coming year. Again, looking forward to the holidays. I think this year we're on track to have a really successful holiday season, just because there was more communication between the stakeholders like CMA, Rec Committee, and the Dr. Mary Cushing Circle. And also this year we might be entertaining a partnership with MMA. Santa Claus might be arriving on a boat this year. And that also builds into how we are looking for more opportunities for MMA students to interact with town businesses. Another winter project of mine that I want to look over, and I'm sure I'll be contacting all of you, is possibly trying to figure out how to bring back the old Castine Belfast ferry. If that is at all a possibility, I think that would be a really exciting town-to-town partnership. Yeah, Yeah. Some Belfast people were asking me about it in the restaurant, so I said it's worth investigating.
Interesting. Matt, if I could ask a question, Matt, with your mention about enrolling the students. Has there ever been a discussion, and I don't even know if it's possible, to see if it's possible for the students to use like their Mariner box that they'll load online with some of our town businesses? Cause I know there are other college towns, like our girls doing college tours, like that the students can kind of use that money through that same system. I have no idea what it takes to achieve, or if that would, make a connection economically easier for the merchants and the students.
Yeah,
If they want to spend money on.
I think somebody mentioned it like in our first year that we were here. But I could definitely follow up and see if we would be interested in doing that. Like we've been making a really concerted effort to make students know that the Pentagoet is a place that they can come and they don't have to always feel like they go to Danny's. And we've seen like more friendly interactions with the kids coming through. But yeah, I think that would be a great opportunity as well.
And I think for some students, if I have it correctly in my mind, like their parents or their grandparents or friends can load money onto the cards, right? And so that may be a way for them to, use those funds for things in
Right.
the community.
You probably have to interface there, like Follett is interfaced with Maine Maritime to do that.
Right, so there gotta be
You have to
something like that,
interface your.
right? Is
your
that through the,
programs
must be through the
to-
finance department or something?
Yeah,
So like when they swipe it, it gives the total and a balance and it tracks it all.
right. And then essentially with merchants, then get a payment at the end of the month, something like that.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
where
like
it's-
our students have to bill Maine Maritime.
Right, that's what I thought. Okay.
I don't know at all what it involves, but just throwing it out there that if it hasn't been discussed, maybe that's something to explore.
Yeah, to make it more friendly to the kids. Cool.
Awesome.
Can I put in a plug again since Terry's here? You know what I think would be great is co-branding. And whenever I go up to the bookstore, I always look for something that said Maine Maritime, Castine, Maine on it. I think I saw one shirt up there this year, but I think that would go over well at the visitor center too. Because whenever I wear Maine Maritime things, people go, "Oh, where's that?" And I'll be like, "Castine," right? Or whenever I wear my Castine shirt, I'm like, "Oh, do you know where Maine Maritime is?" So I just think that might be a good shirt to design for maybe next year, and maybe it could just be a visitor center exclusive one. I don't.
We just added, because we're Follett Corporation, a lot of our stuff comes from Follett Corporation. So we don't really have a lot of leeway in the designing.
Yeah.
But we just added one of our Bowden shirts, which we actually use a local vendor for, so we added Castine, Maine down the.
Oh, that's cool.
Sure.
Excellent. Great.
Thank you very much. And I skipped over, Ina, did you want to discuss Story Walk or the Canada Grant?
I don't need to, I don't really need to, but I'll just share, that we now have, some people have had questions, like what's going on in the field, if you don't know by now. So we have a frequently asked questions document on the website that kind of talks about the kinds of questions that people have had, so refer people to that, and if you don't get your answers there, I'm happy to answer anything else. The construction part is complete. There's a bit of work that we'll just have to organize ourselves in terms of, getting rid of some of the rock piles and, we're watering it, at least a couple of times a week. And, have probably a little bit of seeding to do, grass seeding to do on the two big berms and, the flattened areas sort of on top. And we've decided to postpone the official opening to the springtime, just because it's gonna be so pretty then. And, but the Storybook stories, should be going in within the week, if not this week, certainly maybe next week. I think Deborah's gonna put it in, this week, and, everybody's welcome. We'll get signage done. Bill Corbett has kindly agreed to build benches, for, designated spots, and, we'll be doing a little fundraising for that, but, we'll figure that out. So that's the story walk, and Derek asked me to mention a canopy grant, that's been simmering on the back of the stove. We have foresters who need to wrap up their reports. We had a little bit of an extension to tie up that grant by December, if it goes to December or something. So stay tuned for the key messages that come out of that. And maybe I'll just add one thing, which is, we have a TV crew coming in tomorrow afternoon. They wanted to do a little follow-up feature like us. Kate was very kindly offered a couple of items from the Historical Society collection that we can put in the vestibule there. And I hope we can open it up to the public a little more often next year. And so we'll be just sharing some information about how attractive and interesting and historic it is and how nice it is to Castine.
Can you tell us
Yes.
what station or what?
It's ABC
affiliate?
News out of Bangor, whatever that is.
Thank you.
Channel 7, I believe that's the channel.
Okay, thank you so much. Is that Ina? Ina?
Sorry?
That's the question, I'm not sure if it's Ina or are you there? Was there some discussion about having a name for the story walk?
Yes,
And
so we are collecting suggestions. There's a note that went out via the I think Sue, did you do a note via text? And also.
Not tax on the
Yeah,
website,
it's
but
just
I
on
can
the
do
website
tax
as
this
well.
week, yeah.
So it's on the website. We're happy to collect names. I think we're going to have a select board decision on that. But it's asked for request a select board decision on that. But we'd love to hear from anybody who's interested in maybe.
was any of that transmitted to the Adams School? The kids wanted to see the name, there's such a focus on, or the children's library somewhere.
I would make sure we have a little control, frankly, in that, I'd love to have, ideas from kids.
Yeah.
But we don't want a voting or quote face social.
No, but not that, yes, there would have to be some decision-making process, but to allow them to be part of.
Absolutely, yeah, the contribution, I guess would, the principal be the right person to just talk them through?
Sure.
I'll take credit to them.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I just got a question from the audience. If people don't know, the canopy grant was a grant that we got from Maine Department of Forestry about a little over a year ago. And it's to help us think about what makes healthy and resilient forests. And we had community consultation in the spring, we had a presentation in the summer, people were pretty busy, but there have been 3 sort of analyses done at 3 different sites, Greenview Transfer Station and Schumacher Preserve, as 3 different targeted stages. Offer ideas about how we might think about what the traditional forester says, well, if you're growing lumber on this, what should you know, what do you want? But I think we're also looking at well, what do we want? What would make sense to provide a space and place for more education, public education and informational sessions about issues that are affecting us.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. All right, communications, the only communication I have is one that Derek already spoke about. So that the Wilson Museum has been named on the National Register, so we have that. And now it's time to acknowledge members of the public. Does anyone have anything to ask us or share with us or ideas to give us? Yes, of course.
Kudos to Derek for moving the speed sign around. I think it's helping. But I have a question. Is the board still considering the speed bumps and the speed signs?
What we were trying to do was collect all the data first, and then we'll have a conversation about that data. It will be in a work session, and I would imagine that there would also be a public engagement surrounding that, but we will have talk about all the data, and then we will decide what our next steps should be.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Bobby?
From Hospital Road, back here. The board is representing Debbie, Patty, Jeff, and I, and we have both a short oral, but we have a written update, and we have enough copies for anybody that wants it. But I think if everybody's aware, we recently paused our capital campaign to renovate. We will renovate, but we paused it because of the, what do you call it, turmoil in the healthcare system, and it continues. And the focus still being primarily on what the reimbursement rates are gonna be, but it was in such a state that we decided that this was not a good time to go forward. However, we also know that, when the way forward, when the path forward, is subject to change or upset, it's probably best to be looking at what alternatives exist. And so we have spent the last couple of months assessing what are the other kinds of things that we might be able to engage in, because we are going to continue the provision of healthcare in the clinic on Court Street in Castine, Maine. I will say we continue to work with Northern Light, and we will do everything we can to support them in what they're doing. We are also talking to other people about similar affiliations with other organizations that look like that. And most recently, in the last 6 or 8 weeks, actually, we have met with consultants about the feasibility of a COHP or a DPC. And those were not acronyms that rolled off of our tongues, but a community-owned health plan and direct primary care. These are not new in the world. They have burgeoned in the Midwest, but they're all over the country. And as you know, in Maine, there are 30 DPCs already here. Anyway, we have looked at it, and with a community-owned health plan built on top of a direct primary care requires an anchor company, an anchor business, an anchor employer. So we've had conversations with Craig Johnson at MMA, and he said as long as we paid for the feasibility study, which we pledged we would. No, he is interested in looking at it. This does not commit MMA to anything, but it's great that they've agreed to join us in this study, because it'll help us know a way forward that would be best, not just for institutions, but also for individuals here in Castine. Anyway, we have this report, this update, which we'll give you. I should also tell you, it points to our annual meeting on the 27th of October at 7 p.m. in this building. And we will have representatives of the consultants here. And we will be here, and we will try to begin to talk about what the process looks like. The feasibility study itself will take probably 3 months. And they're going to look at everything. What insurance do I keep? Who pays what? Who has to file papers? It's the whole 9 yards. But we felt it was absolutely important that we look at. We don't want to be caught flat-footed if something bad happens, God forbid. I can hand them out later or now or whatever.
Thank you. We appreciate your proactive approach. We really do. Thank you. Okay.
The rec committee has had, since before 4th of July, a couple of conversations in regards to how the 4th of July has kind of morphed into, a large assumption that certain individuals are just gonna make sure that it happens. And, I think there's a lot of assumptions about food and fireworks, and we've been having a conversation about how we would like to propose an idea of actually having a 4th of July committee, because everybody assumes that Sue has always taken care of everything and that Sue just always should. It used to be balloons, which used to be volunteers, and the old guard is now the old guard, and yet somehow everybody assumes that the old guard is just gonna make sure that everything happens, and I think we've outgrown what we used to be, and I think that we're erroneously having an assumption that it falls to the rec committee, be it flags or whatever, and I think that we need to kind of get together, whether we have someone from the Merchants Association, someone from the town, someone from the rec committee. But I think we've become a pretty big entity as far as the 4th of July, and I think we kind of need to regroup and reconsider how that should move forward.
I think that makes sense. That's a great idea. Let's talk about that at our next work session, and if you want to send us any ideas that you have, that'd be great. And we can look at it and see what we can do, and then we can send you back some of our thoughts. And yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That is true. We tend to take things for granted. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Derek, can you give us an update on the dry hydrant project?
Yeah, I did. It's not gonna go in till the spring, because we ran into construction problems of scheduling. So it had to be buttoned up by the beginning of October. And so ordering the supplies and everything else wasn't gonna happen, so that will break ground as soon as the thaw happens, if you will. I'm gonna assume probably May of next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, did I hear you mention that you might be moving the sign on Battle Avenue with regard to the historic, what project is going on?
No, what I said, there's a sign that's supposed to be over on Dice Head that was down here on the corner. That talks about on, I forget what it was, July 22nd or whatever, 1779. That the American soldiers took these heights at great casualties.
Yeah.
That whole invasion happened a mile away, down on top of Dice Head, not on this end. I'm not the best historian in this town, but I've read a little bit. I don't know if the Americans ever made it down to that hill. I know the British had some, batteries there around there. And I know that there were some hospitals down on Water Street down around there, that I've seen, but yeah, so that was created this issue, I think, was that sign being in the wrong location.
So anyway, the sign that's there has probably been there close to 100 years now,
Yes.
and so it would be a shame if it was moved, but
Well, it's only gonna move about a mile down the road, though.
It's not in the
why it's in the wrong place.
Yeah, because
Well, it's in the wrong-
ideally it should be down during the invasion up over Dice Head.
If it's in the wrong place, you're gonna have to convince people who grew up in town, to know that sign is exactly on that place. Because there used to be, Ponzi, things to call Ponzi, he was in charge of the water system here. And that sign was always in that particular place.
Yeah.
If you wanna do something that's really nice, you might want to consider that nice little park that we're building. As a memorial to the soldiers, it's there, that got killed. If you're looking for a name, it should be memorial, I think, that's my opinion,
That's interesting, yes, thank you.
but don't move the sign.
Well,
It's created a lot of turmoil and drama in my last week or so, and dozens of hours of researching.
Have my wife on your case. If you
Can I put a sign that says the sign that used to be here is now a mile down the road where it should be?
I don't think that's a good idea. There's still a few of us who are a lot, not me, but.
I know.
Other people that grew up in town would be really annoyed about that, but I don't think they would mind, if it was a memorial.
You know, Gus, I'm glad that you say this because I don't know which website, it's someplace off our website. And it says whatever, visit Castine, enjoy the historic signs. Although some of them are probably not historically accurate to everything on them, but they're beloved by the people of Castine. And you just proved that point right there.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, select board comments. So, we good?
Yeah, no, I would like to just jump in. I just want to add my 2 cents to the story walk conversation. And that is, I just want to make it clear to everyone that, the select board talked about this several times over the last year. This didn't come out of nowhere. I mean, we had multiple meetings, we had multiple work sessions, we applied for the grant. And so this is something that has been in discussion for many months. And then secondly, I want to say that when we did win the grant and we moved forward, in addition to the Historical Society, the Maine's Historic Preservation Committee, and a state recommended archaeologist, there was also maps that were reviewed. There was LIDAR report investigation, and there was and so, in addition to all the prep work, before we even did any of the work, this was handled really carefully. And so I just don't want anyone in town to think that this was just willy-nilly and we just went about working on a site that could have historic significance. I mean, Ina did an amazing job researching this facility. So, I really felt really upset by what happened. And in some ways, I feel it was really unnecessary. And I just want to make it really clear that, any accusations that we built on a gravesite are categorically untrue. And I think we just need to make that crystal clear to everybody in the community.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much. Yeah, I personally was really concerned about the amount of staff time that the entire thing took. After the fact, after the allegations were made. But thank you so much for bringing that up. All right, are there any other select board comments? Then, our next scheduled meetings are, we have a town and gown meeting on Monday, October 20th. We have a select board meeting, oh, wait. Oh, yeah.
I listed out all the town downs.
Oh, thank you, that's what I asked, excuse, okay, on Monday, October 20th, November 17th, and Monday, December 15th, all of those are at 3 p.m. And our next select board meeting is Monday the 20th at 4 p.m. And there will be a work session probably between now and then, but we have to figure out when that will be, so we'll get with you. Okay, all right. If there is nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. To adjourn into executive session pursuant to Mars, I can just find out,
405.
to discuss a
Personnel.
personnel matter. Thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate it.
Who's making that motion?
I am, there's a second. Probably it's on our call. I've seen him talk to Louis for any first of all. Oh, yeah. Like, this is
I'm leaving Dan on, right?
Yeah.
And then we've had some other ones that are like on a.
Thank you for looking